Hello guys! Welcome back to the TFD family. This is Aldo, and I'm excited to be here with you today. As you know, Cordy isn't able to host today's video because she's dealing with some personal matters and needed to step away for a bit. She's doing fine and will hopefully be back very soon. Until then, I'll be taking over and keeping things going. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right into today's video. Everything that happened during that game last night was absolutely wild. It's clear as day that the coaching staff has some kind of issue with how they're managing Caitlin Clark's minutes on the floor. I understand there were concerns about fatigue, I understand there might be some strategic reasoning behind it, but the way things played out on that court just felt off. 4 minutes on, then pulled. Back in for a stretch, then benched again. Caitlin Clark never really had a chance to settle in, and honestly, it showed in how the game unfolded. This might genuinely be one of the more frustrating performances we've watched from Caitlin Clark this season, bro. One of the more frustrating ones we've seen from her in a while. Now, here's the thing. Let me show you guys something interesting. Before the game even started, there were some comments made that are worth revisiting. Let me pull up that clip real quick so you all can see exactly what was said.
Just Aaliyah Boston was obviously listed as questionable yesterday. How did she feel through shoot around, and do you have an update on her status for tonight?
Yeah, she just did some of the shooting. She's going to be out tonight. Again with the back-to-back. And Caitlin are back-to-back. Caitlin's going to be active tonight. AB's not, and then they'll flip-flop tomorrow.
What key has been the most...
So this was Stephanie White before the game. And honestly, this is where the conversation starts to get really interesting. Now, what I'm going to be paying close attention to is the very next game. I believe it's tomorrow, although I could be mistaken. If Caitlin Clark doesn't suit up, then everyone needs to keep their eyes on how Stephanie White manages the rotations. Will Aaliyah Boston suddenly be playing only 2 or 3 minutes at a time? Will the same restrictions apply to other star players? Or was this approach only used with Caitlin Clark? Those are fair questions, and they're exactly what fans will be watching moving forward. That's why it's important to hear what Stephanie White had to say after the game and compare her words with what actually happened on the court. Now, let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell. If you're looking for sympathy after that performance, I don't think many fans are going to give it to you. To be completely honest, you played a role in why the Indiana Fever struggled offensively. There were too many possessions where the ball stopped moving, too much ball hogging, and not enough involvement from the rest of the team. When one player dominates the offense, it's difficult for everyone else to establish any rhythm. That lack of balance hurt the team, and it was obvious throughout the game. Whether people agree or disagree, that's going to be one of the biggest talking points after this loss. Caitlin Clark looked visibly frustrated, and it wasn't hard to understand why. Being substituted every couple of minutes made it nearly impossible for her to settle into the flow of the game. Afterward, Caitlin Clark made it clear that she wasn't expecting the rotation to play out that way. She essentially said that she knew she was on a minutes restriction because of her injury, but she didn't know she would be coming off the floor every 2 or 3 minutes. According to Caitlin Clark, that wasn't part of the plan she had been told about, and it clearly caught her by surprise. Caitlin Clark addressed the situation in comments reported by the Indy Star, with Chloe Peterson covering the story. We'll get into those remarks because they provide important context. Credit as well to Correlation for sharing the key quotes and the game clips showing Caitlin Clark being taken out repeatedly. Those substitutions quickly became one of the biggest talking points after the game, with many fans questioning whether the rotation helped or hurt the Indiana Fever. This is from the article in the Indy Star by Chloe Peterson. Okay, here it says Clark did not look like her usual self on Wednesday. She was played in 2 to 3 minute spurts as part of her minutes restriction. When she was asked about that setup, she said, "That was not my decision. That was somebody else's decision. That wasn't on me. I didn't want to do that. That was somebody else's decision." She was also quoted as saying, "It's really hard when you're playing 3 minutes, sub out, then play 3 more minutes, and then you're back on the bench." Clark said, "It's really hard to get into the flow. For the most part, I got good looks. Some of them went in and some of them didn't. I probably didn't get to have the feel for the game like I usually do. It's just really hard for me to play in that scenario. But overall, my body feels great. So that's the positive I can take from today." So she let it be known, and that's why I said I'm not tripping over her missing shots. There was no rhythm. You can't play 2 minutes, go sit down, go get on a bike, come back in, play 2 more minutes, then go sit down again and get back on the bike. Bruh, you're not gonna make shots that way. You're not going to get into a rhythm. And she said it right here. It's really, really hard to get into a flow. It is hard. This was a stupid plan and a stupid setup by the Indiana Fever Brain Trust. They were dumb as a box of rocks. They need to be fired because they don't know what they're doing. She was also quoted as saying, "I told our trainers after the game that it stinks we didn't win and we didn't play very well, but I'll take it as a win because of how my body feels and how I really felt out there. I didn't even feel very winded." Caitlin Clark is basically saying, yo, I wasn't even tired. I'm not tired. I'm not out of breath. Y'all keep subbing me. I don't understand what's going on. This is stupid. I mean, it is what it is, man. The girl doesn't want to do this. Now, take another look at the rotation, because the numbers tell the whole story. Caitlin Clark played 3 minutes and 25 seconds in the first quarter before being taken out. She then logged 4 minutes and 25 seconds spread across 2 quarters. In the second quarter, she played 3 minutes and 8 seconds. In the third quarter, she was on the floor for just 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And in the fourth quarter, only 3 minutes and 17 seconds. How is any player, especially Caitlin Clark, supposed to build confidence or establish a rhythm under those circumstances? A minutes restriction is one thing, but this rotation made it nearly impossible to stay engaged. If this was always the plan, it would have made more sense not to play her at all. It simply didn't put Caitlin Clark in a position to succeed. And then you have Stephanie White subbing Caitlin Clark out left and right. Look at this. Caitlin Clark is ready to check back into the game, and Stephanie White just pulls her away from the scorer's table. Caitlin Clark is standing there, prepared to sub in, and then, boom, she's told, no, just go back to the bench. I mean, it's ridiculous. Instead, I believe they brought in Lexi Hull or Sophie Cunningham alongside Michaela Timpson. I mean, what is going on here? It's unbelievable. Then it's go back to the bike instead of getting back into the game. How is Caitlin Clark supposed to play well in this type of setup? How is she supposed to get into any kind of rhythm when she's constantly being pulled in and out of the game? It just doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. I am done with this nonsense. Let's see what Lexi Hull said about this game. Okay, so let's talk about the article, courtesy of Chloe Peterson in the Indy Star. If you want to read the complete story with all the details, you can check it out on the Indy Star. Here, we're just discussing some of the biggest takeaways from the report. The article is titled, Why Caitlin Clark Struggled in Return from Back Injuries Suffered 2 Weeks Ago. According to the article, Caitlin Clark explained that the unusual substitution pattern wasn't something she had planned or wanted. She made it clear that the decision came from the coaching and medical staff, not from her. That was one of the biggest revelations because many fans were wondering whether those constant trips to the bench were something she requested herself. Caitlin Clark also said that returning after missing 2.5 weeks is much harder than people realize. She explained that no workout can truly replicate the pace and intensity of a real WNBA game. Even if you feel good physically during practice, the game environment is completely different once the competition begins. Following the 106-92 loss, Caitlin Clark told both Indy Star and ESPN that although her workouts had gone well, she knew there would still be an adjustment period. She admitted that she's naturally competitive and always believes she can play more, but she also understands the importance of protecting her body over a long season. Stephanie White also addressed the situation, saying that any player returning after missing a couple of weeks needs time to rebuild conditioning and endurance. However, what caught many people's attention was that Caitlin Clark later said she didn't even feel tired during the game. That difference in perspective has sparked plenty of discussion among fans about whether everyone was on the same page regarding her minutes. Another major point from the article was Caitlin Clark's frustration with the constant substitutions. She explained that playing for just a few minutes, going to the bench, riding the exercise bike, and then checking back in made it extremely difficult to establish any rhythm. She said she got quality shot opportunities but never really felt connected to the flow of the game because she was constantly being taken in and out. Even after the disappointing loss, Caitlin Clark found one positive. She said she told the trainers that although the Indiana Fever didn't win, she was encouraged by how her body responded. She felt healthy, wasn't overly fatigued, and believed that was something positive to build on moving forward. Once again, full credit goes to Chloe Peterson and the Indy Star for the reporting. The article provides additional context surrounding Caitlin Clark's return and explains what both Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White had to say after the game. Now, the criticism of how the Indiana Fever handled the situation has become a major topic of discussion among fans. Many people believe the minute-by-minute rotation prevented Caitlin Clark from finding any rhythm, while others argue the team was simply trying to protect its franchise player after a back injury. Regardless of where you stand, it's a debate that isn't going away anytime soon. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think about what Caitlin Clark had to say and how the Indiana Fever managed her return. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.